Hey guys and gals, it's November the 7th of 2020. It's a Saturday. I'm out for a little drive. I need to go run an errand at one of my niece's houses. She's got a bunch of my memory chips from the first couple of years that we went full time. I am in Mossdale, well, at the Mossdale Crossing. It used to be called the Mossdale Y, W-Y-E, and though we're all taught in school that the Transcontinental Railroad was actually completed at the Golden Spike in Promontory, Utah, the railroad only ran to Sacramento, and then freight was put on the boats and then shipped down to San Francisco to the port. The actual rest of the railroad to the coast was finished when the bridge here at Mossdale over the San Joaquin River was built. And that was, I know that the Western Pacific built the railroad through Altamont Pass in 1913, so it was kind of sort of roughly around then. So we're at Mossdale. Right now it's at the intersection of Interstate 5 and California 120. So Mossdale, there used to be a little town here. It's a historic spot, but like so many others, lost to time. So we're going to press on here and we'll see what's next. I'm wearing a 1939 Sacramento Solons of the Pacific Coast League jersey today. You can tell by the patch on the side that all organized to baseball. It seems to me the Negro Leagues did too, but I'm not positive, had that patch on their jerseys in this year, signifying the alleged 100 years of baseball, Alexander, what's his name, and all the other nonsense, when we know that goddamn Doc Adams actually invented the game as we know it now. So there's a little bit of history, and we'll see what's next. Our next stop of the day finds us at the intersection of Grant Line Road and Altamont Pass Road in rural Alameda County. Now, Altamont Pass Road used to be the Lincoln Highway, and this part of Grant Line Road that I'm standing on right now leads towards Interstate 580. Now, this part of Grant Line Road was built in the 30s when the eastbound lanes of what is now 580 was US 50 both ways. It was 2 lanes each way. You could see the freeway, and if you're from out here and you make the god-awful drive over the Altamont Pass on 580, you drive under the railroad bridge, and that was built in the 30s. And that used to be 2 lanes of US 50 both ways. So here's kind of sort of where we are. We're going to turn left up here on Altamont Pass Road and drive through Altamont Pass through the small hamlet of Altamont, which I'll talk about when I get there. So we'll see what's next. I'm on Altamont Pass Road, and this railroad bridge was built in 1915, which is when roughly 1913 and on was when the Western Pacific, hold on, let me step out of traffic, when the Western Pacific put the tracks through the Altamont Pass and eventually through the southern Amador Valley, through Livermore and such, and then through Sunol, and oh God, I can't even think of the canyon, Niles Canyon. In fact, seems to me that both the Western Pacific and Southern Pacific built separate tracks through there, and at least through the Altamont, one of the railroads in the 80s pulled up their tracks, and they share the one remaining rail line. So we're gonna kind of cruise on here, and we'll get to Altamont, the little hamlet, shortly. Our next stop finds us in Altamont at the Summit Garage. The post office used to be here. The elevation is 741 feet. Now, when this highway was built, it was part of the Lincoln Highway, which ran from New York City to San Francisco. When the federal government in 1926 passed that they were going to start numbering highways, the U.S. highways that we know now, to have some continuity on roads being used like the Lincoln Highway that went from state to state. This was first numbered US 42. Then it was numbered US 48, of which I'll edit in a little clip here at the end of my spiel about showing that. And then in 1931, at the time, US 50 ended in Stockton. And in 1931, the US 48 here was changed to US 50, and then US 50 extended all the way into Oakland, across the Bay Bridge in 1936, and ended up out at the Palace of Fine Arts in Lincoln Park, where there is a little monument that says the terminus of the Lincoln Highway. Now, in 1927, when the Carquinez Bridge was built, the Lincoln Highway moved through Vallejo and stuff, where I-80 is now. US 40 used to kind of sort of go through Benicia and then take the ferry over to Martinez, and then take what is now Highway 4 all the way into Crockett, and then down San Pablo Boulevard, which used to be US 40. So there's a little bit of your history lesson for today. There's my wonderful dog, God love him, he's out for a sniff. So we're in Altamont, we're at the top of Altamont Pass, and we'll press on and see what's next. I'm driving on the Altamont Pass Road, and it's Saturday afternoon. There's hardly any traffic. There were a couple of bicycle riders that rode by, but 2:30 in the afternoon or 5:30 in the morning on a weekday, and this road is a speedway of people trying to avoid the 580 traffic over the Altamont Pass. And you can't cross the street, you can't turn left. It is just an incredibly fast, dangerous drive from commuters trying to shave a couple of minutes off their commute. So I wanted to point that out. We're going to turn left up here on Flynn. I think this is Flynn Road. Let me see here. It is not Flynn Road, it is Carroll Road. Now, when I was a kid, I rode out here a teenager, and then before I met the She-Devil, and then I guess after the She-Devil, but I rode out here learning how to ride. So I rode these roads 1,000 different times. I was a social loser, so I was me and my motorcycle. So anyway, we're gonna press on. We'll see what's next. Our next stop is on Patterson Pass Road, still in Alameda County. We're a little turnout here called Top of the World. And when Marie dispatched for the sheriff's office, they had one deputy for the entire unincorporated eastern part of the county, from Sunol all the way Sunol and unincorporated Livermore, where Castlewood is, all the way to the county line. And every so often they'd pop back here at top of the world and find people up here that probably shouldn't be doing what they should be doing. So we are at top of the world. We're on Patterson Pass Road. We're heading east. And this road actually is similar to Altamont Pass Road with the amount of traffic during the commute hour where people are trying to avoid 580. In fact, Marie and I were out for a drive when we still lived in Stockton, and I had the DeVille. The night the DeVille got stolen from Billy Hebert Park, we were out here like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and God, there was already traffic driving way too fast. So anyway, we're on Patterson Pass Road, top of the world, and we'll see what's next. I wanted to add here, even though I'm filming this out of order, that before 1913 and the railroad and the highway was put through Altamont Pass, that the First Peoples and the early European visitors used Patterson Pass Road as their primary way from the Central Valley to the Amador Valley, where Livermore, Pleasanton, and Dublin are. And I wanted to add that in, even though I'm filming it out of order, so here you go.